What up? Can you guys hear me
Are you
okay?
working a deal right now?
Dude, I am working so many deals at the moment. Thank you so much for having me virtually, you guys. Let me put this on silent. I
Okay,
think
Io, we'll introduce you in just a second. Andy Choi, how you doing?
Amazing, Pace. How you doing?
What'd you order last night at Mastro's?
Oh my gosh, I got the steak.
What kind of steak? What
It
kind of
was a
cut?
fillet, 8 ounce fillet,
That's
medium
all you
rare.
can handle is 8
I
ounces?
mean, I had to keep it light for this opportunity here.
Okay, I love
The
it.
camera adds a few pounds, I heard.
Do you,
So it's
you
like
ever go to
I
dinner
had
with
to keep
people
it a
and they
little light.
order like a charred, well done steak?
Oh, yeah.
That's Jamil.
Yeah.
I'm like, what, dude, just order beef jerky. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you a medium rare
Talk
guy?
about
Did a
ruining a
medium
good
rare.
thing.
It was a great opportunity with the Owners Club members.
Yeah.
Some really amazing people. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you guys for providing this opportunity.
Of course, we love doing it. So the floor is yours. We'll let you run this. Now, IO is on virtual, so we're going to have two different things going on. Eric already knows to do this, but the speaker that you guys will be hearing IO out of is over by Eric, so we'll be as quiet as we possibly can so we can hear you across the room.
right
Floor is yours, Andy and IO.
right on. Thank you guys so much. I'm able to do this virtually thanks to you guys. What happened was my wife went into labor a few weeks earlier, so Thursday I got to meet my baby for the first time. So super grateful.
Wow.
Shout out to my wife. Ingrid knows the story and the journey. So, yes, super blessed. Brave the wildfires to be in this world. Anyway, so Andy and I are here to discuss some great opportunities and teach folks what we do at Urban Equity Holdings, where we believe in wealth creation through responsible urban infill. Just want to kick this off with a quick disclaimer. My partner Andy and I are not financial advisors. This deal is not an SEC offering. Projections are based on past performance, which does not necessarily guarantee future returns. And we are more than happy to provide all the legal paperwork so you can consult with your financial advisors and your attorneys.
Was that off the cuff? Damn.
That was pretty good. Yeah, you've done that one before, huh?
No,
It's a
we're
practice.
so pumped to be here, and we just want to be very transparent with everybody. So I'd like to introduce the sponsors of the project. So standing by my side virtually and in your studio is Andy Choi, who's been doing development in Los Angeles for 10 years plus. He's completed over 100 projects ranging from wholesale, single family, commercial, and multifamily development. Not with us, but working hard behind the scenes is Isaiah Henry. He's underwriting deals and sort of filling up our pipeline for 2025 and beyond. He works in the private equity space and has his own kind of own portfolio of service-based businesses in the East Coast. And then there's me, Io Sanu. I am very passionate about construction. I've been building in the commercial space since 2005. Everything from retail, mixed use, commercial, affordable housing, luxury, residential, tons of other stuff, cool LAX projects, airport projects, that type of thing. And so throughout my construction career, and as I pivoted into development with the help of learning how to invest through communities like Sub 2, I was starting to put the pieces together that, building at this rate with the current cost of development is not sustainable. I was on a project that it cost nearly $600,000 per door to provide affordable studio, quote, air quotes for affordable. And so, it really left me questioning, like, hey, how can I help solve this problem? I partnered with Andy, to sort of answer that question, like, hey, how can we on the private side bring in equity partners and figure out how to build efficiently, bring more housing to the marketplace, and still maintain quality. So what we came up with was a pretty concise system to deliver quality housing in Los Angeles by utilizing infill lots in desirable areas and while taking advantage of key pro-development policies in California, like ADU laws, so that we could build to the max zoning permissible by right in California. I'm going to share with you one of these deals that is sort of an illustration of this model, and we'll call this deal Comey Avenue. We are currently seeking $325,000 in exchange for 20% equity to our investor partners or partners. The minimum investment is $162,000, for which you will in return receive 10%. equity of the LLC that operates Comey Avenue. The project IRR is 61%, and the equity multiple is 2.43. At our firm, we implement a 50-50 split between the sponsors, us, and the investors. We can call them GPLP. As the sponsors, Andy and I will handle all aspects of the project, including finding the deal, obtaining permits, overseeing construction, managing leasing, ensuring that the project operates smoothly. For you, the LP, the investor partner, your projected return would be a 34% IRR, a 1.71 equity multiple. So for the people in the back, what this means is that, say you invest $162,000, you would yield an estimated $110,000 in profit. At the end of the project, when the property is sold, will return your principal investment along with your profit. So that's kind of illustrated in the table down at the bottom.
This is in California, I imagine.
Yes, this is in Los Angeles, Comey Avenue, and this is a rendering of the project that we are building there. Little backstory about this one, Pace. You might remember this one. It was a pre-foreclosure lead that I door knocked in my backyard.
I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, so this woman, Sharon, she fell behind. There was a series of events. Anyway, hard money loan. She wasn't able to keep up with it, lost it. Luckily, we were able to step in, get into solution mode, stop the foreclosure the day before the auction, sort of unwind a few other challenges related to her health. In the end, we were able to help out a member of the community, let her stay in the property for 3 months rent-free while she figured out next steps. In fact, we even found her a new place, guaranteed her with the new landlord. The cool thing about it is that, we asked her, when she agreed to sell it to us, we asked her if she would carry back some of that equity so that we could bring her in as an investor in the deal. And we did that for a few reasons. One, just because we wanted to, obviously it made the pro forma better, but we also wanted to put more money in her pocket to kind of close the gap and make ends meet, because our larger goal is to basically at the end of the 2 years, when she is also cashed out, we'll have rebuilt her credit and we can get her into her own place and get her back on her feet. So anyway, this is a really great story. This is one of countless distressed properties in our backyard that fit this infill lot strategy.
And also it has nothing, it's not even remotely close to the fires that are going on right now, guys. There's already people asking that question.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that thinks LA, obviously LA is huge. People are going to immediately go, oh, is this a fire area? No, this is across a freeway. This is across a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, there's no way that a fire would ever reach this property. I mean, this fire, I don't know if some freaking crackhead at Skid Row is going to walk over here, but this isn't a safe area. It's north of Culver City. I just looked it up on the map. This is a great area.
Yep. Yeah, I'll get into the location in a minute, just to get you guys familiar about what it's like to invest in Los Angeles. A lot of people are a little shy to invest, but I've got some great reasons why you should be pretty bullish on Los Angeles, and I'll get into that in a minute. But just for the just kind of framing the project itself, our plan here is to take down currently a single family home, build it up to 5 units, taking advantage of what we can build by right, which is two units, and then 3 additional ADUs, so total of 5 units here. The whole project life cycle is 24 months. We're already into that with acquisitions, and we've already started some of our pre-construction to get us to ready to issue plans and permits. I know it was brought up, how challenging it is to get approved for plans in California. But we are at a good place in that process. We should have RTIs in March and be ready to break ground in April. So
what's an RTI?
Ready to issue plans.
Okay.
So gone through permitting and gone through plan check and been approved. So basically, if you came into the deal now, you're kind of at a great point. You're kind of reducing your risk to that whole process since we're kind of through that hurdle. So like I said, we'll build, probably take 12 months or so to build. And then that leaves us a cushion of 5 months to do lease up, stabilize, sell the property, and so forth, because our strategy is to sell it at $4 million, which would put it at a 5 cap. If in the event at the end of this project, it's not, market conditions shift a little, maybe there's more of a correction, we can hold on to the property, refinance it at a lower interest, and just hold it. It'll cash flow, and then we'll just wait for a more opportune time to sell. So So this is like next slide is a overview of where the property sits in Los Angeles. So for those of you who don't know, it's about 15 minutes from all the major entertainment studios in Culver City, 15 minutes from Beverly Hills, these iconic places like Rodeo Drive, 15 minutes from all the well-known beaches in West LA, which are unfortunately experiencing a lot of wildfires, but we're pretty, because we're east and south of that, this property is in a safer area. It's 15 minutes from UCLA and at USC. It's really central, basically. And Pace, incidentally, it's only 3 minutes from Charlie Rocket's Dream Factory. So I know you know where
Oh,
that
that's a great spot. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So just for you, those are a little shy about Los Angeles and why to invest there. While a lot of cities in California, you're seeing migration out to places like Texas or Utah or Idaho. That's not actually the case in Los Angeles. We experience year-over-year population growth at just shy of 1%. So it's like 12.5 million people living in LA currently. That growth is about 100,000 people every year. So just to also kind of drive another point home, it's a rental market. 63% of households rent, not own. And especially right now with what's going on with the wildfires Pace, there's a lot of displacement happening. The demand is already high for affordable housing, and let alone, what's going to happen now that people are impacted with the loss of their homes through the wildfire. Our renter avatar for Comey is sort of this tech worker, entertainment worker. So we've got, just so people know, the employers in this region, they're kind of like the entertainment industry, tech, aviation, like YouTube, Activision, Hulu, Disney, SpaceX. That's kind of giving you an idea of who's going to be renting these spaces. Next slide. So let's get into the economics, and Andy is also able to answer any questions that you guys might have. But for now, the performance slide speaks for itself. $1 million purchase price. The construction cost is just shy of $1.5 million. Financing and finance fees and admin costs, about $320,000. So the most important thing is, out the door, the total project cost is 2.785 million. And
Is the seller, I don't see it here, but maybe I'm wrong. How much is the seller carrying back?
she's carrying back 110,000.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Yep. So I can go into the sources and uses because we kind of already went on into the exit and the profits, but
Okay, so Io, you already covered this a little bit with the raise. You're only raising $375,000 roughly. So you guys are going to go get a loan for 1.9. The equity 811 is much higher than what you said you were originally raising. Why is that the case?
Oh, we've already got committed investors in the deal. So
Okay.
we've already secured our loan.
Okay.
So we just have the remaining raise, which is 325,000.
Just a critique before you even finish. So maybe you were going to go here. I probably would have put that on the page that you said you're raising 375. I would say something like, we already have X amount of investors at $500,000 committed to this project because it's super exciting.
Right.
We only have $375,000 left.
Right. Yeah.
Right. The fear of loss is greater than the motivation for gain.
100%. So let me backtrack a little bit then. So, that 20% that is given to the investor or investors who come in with that remaining 325, that's because Andy, the sponsors are going to take 50%. The LPs are going to get the other 50%. So $162,000 contribution is about 10% equity.
Okay. Love it.
So we've already secured nearly $2 million in debt financing through institutional lenders. We have
who's qualifying for that?
Andy and I.
Awesome. We already signed on that.
Okay, great.
Did they have to personally guarantee? Did you guys have to personally guarantee?
We did. I and I personally guarantee them. It's recourse.
Yeah.
So your butt's on the line is what I was trying to get at.
We're going to put it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
owns
We
you.
have skin in the game, yeah.
Yeah, we have skin in the game, and then you know how you at the top of the present or the this webinar, you guys were talking about other lender types. We brought other lenders into this deal too to help us with the foreclosure and acquisition piece. A lot of people are making money. We got a great TC through Top Tier TC, Lynn Davis, shout out. So lots of people are involved in this deal, but anyway, we there's other ways that we can bring on investors and lenders to this deal still. Yeah, our budget is pretty well defined, detailed line items, and we've grounded them all in actual data from previous developments. These are real world numbers.
And these are previous developments. Obviously, Andy Choi and you have the experience, and so you're aggregating collective data between the projects that you've successfully done yourselves rather than somebody else.
Yeah,
That is
and
great.
later
Awesome.
in the presentation, we can show a few case studies of that. That's how we get our hard costs really dialed in. We stay pretty competitive. We have some key partners, but we're always getting more and more competitive bids, just so there's no complacency there. Andy and I do tons of SWOT analysis constantly to reevaluate how to make sure that this stays efficient and on track. So anyway, the most critical thing about this is, take a look at all the numbers, but the total project cost again is 2.785 million. And you're working with seasoned developers like us. So we can answer any questions before we move on, if there were any questions about this slide.
This is great.
Okay. So going on to the next slide, which is the performer rents. We analyze rent comps in the area. We'll show you that in the next slide. And, pay attention to that number down in the corner, 22,400. That represents the gross scheduled income. Think of that as the monthly revenue generated by the building. That's what's providing the reliable income stream. What's compelling about this unit mix that we've decided to go with is, they're larger units, 3-bedroom, 3-bath. So we're thinking thoughtfully about the kind of client where the client avatar or the renter avatar, and, especially smaller families, maybe. I think this comes at a perfect time for what we were talking about earlier with who's being displaced at the moment with the fires. So, happy to.
Yeah, I think thanks for pointing that out. Somebody from Arizona, I'd look at 1,200 square feet and I'd be like, 3-bed, 3-bath. Like, what are you doing? But it makes sense where you are, right? This is a very LA thing. So you guys have obviously done your homework. You have the experience. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and we know too that this is also a co-living model that can work so that everyone gets a bedroom bathroom ratio there too. So it works for small families. It works for young
roommate situation or what have you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, next slide is kind of showing you kind of the like for like what we're competing against for those rent comps. What we do is part of our model is we're and just for folks to understand the rental market in LA a little further, what we do is we make sure average rents in our infill lot strategy exceed $3 per square foot. And that's very easy to do when you buy right, and you go after the distressed, and it's a win-win for everybody. So our pipeline is full of deals like this.
Isn't this crazy? This came from IO door knocking a foreclosure in LA.
That's crazy.
So cool. And helping the seller. You guys helped the seller get into a new spot, you said earlier, right?
Yep.
So cool.
And she's a friend, at this point, we're very much accountable and grateful. I mean, we can go into the story of her later, but yeah, it was a great story. One thing to note for folks is to look at what the rents can fetch for a 3-bedroom, 3-bath in LA. I don't know that people are used to this maybe in their city, but this is pretty typical for Los Angeles. So we can go into the sales comps, which kind of help us get to that 5 cap we were talking about. These are comps that we did like for like properties in the area. And if you notice that fourth one, I think the numbers are inverted, but it's number 3. It's the 4th one on the 4th row, and that is, I'm sorry, it is the 3rd.
No, you're correct. It's the 4th row. Yeah, it's the 1st row.
Yeah, so 6066 Comey Avenue is right next to our subject property that we're developing. And that one went and was sold in August for 4.3 million. So with our expected exit at 4 million, we feel really good about that, especially with the time horizon that we're going to be selling in about 18 months. So we'll see appreciation on our project, probably higher than the 4 million that we're anticipating. But
Are you worried about your lot size compared to their lot size? I think you guys are 40% smaller lot size than them. Are you worried about that at all?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
luckily
You
the
took
way
that
our
into consideration.
we took that into consideration because of the ADU laws. This kind of gets in the weeds. We don't have to provide parking density. So we had a lot of other things that we could do with that square footage that the other competitor didn't have.
Ah, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, good catch. Next slide is kind of just reiterating the target returns and what we're asking and what we're seeking. So again, 325,000 for a 20% equity, minimum investment of 162,000. And so that's the breakdown. You know, you contribute 162,000, you make 110 out of the deal in less than 2 years, and so your total return will be 272. I spoke a lot. I don't know if I missed anything, Andy.
No, I think you did really good. Just a really great opportunity to, provide more housing, more density in Los Angeles because there's much need. And also, Io and I were very passionate about doing it quick, doing it efficient. We run a very tight ship in our operation. If you're on the boat, you got to row. There's no space on the boat if you're not rowing. So the whole SWOT analysis, we're constantly leveling out bids, getting competitive, speed to market, so that we can house more people in the long term, quicker and faster. Yeah.
Yeah, so we threw up a slide there with our QR code for anyone who wants to kind of find out more about the deal. You're welcome.
Man, I'm like wanted to invest in everybody's deals. Have you had that same feeling?
Yeah.
I'm like, where should
I said, hey guys, can you have like one deal bomb?
Yeah, for real.
Because that's reality is more deals bomb than do well.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to be like, yeah, that's a bad deal.
We tried.
You tried?
We did.
We
See, we talked about that, huh? We really did, because that's the reality of it. And I'm like, I don't want this to seem jaded.
Yeah.
Like every deal you're going to see is a good deal you're going to do, because that would send the wrong message.
Right.
So we should probably say that.
We should say that.
These are better than what you're typically going to see.
I'll tell you, our company looks at probably 20 deals before we say yes to something. I literally would say yes to almost every one of these deals here today. And I hate LA. And I would still write a check for this deal.
You should definitely push it to Jamil. The return is
Stupid. And this is a great team with great story. And like, honestly, I mean, I haven't looked at all the things, right? So this is just me.
You got to validate.
This is conjecture.
Verify.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, this plan makes sense. It's a short time frame. You already have people invested. You guys have put personal guarantees and your credit on the line. You're out there with more projects. So this is and also your track history, right? You guys have been doing projects. You've been in construction and doing projects like this since 2004, right? Long time. I mean, you're making babies. Gosh, damn. You know how to make something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll paste
Hold on the pop
scarcity here because we're doing deals like this. This is an example of something that we're doing, hand over fist, and especially.
Yeah, and what I want to point that out. There's obviously large development companies in LA, but when you're doing infill lots like this, you kind of find a small niche that beginner investors can't touch this. Bigger investors that's too small for us.
Right.
They're going for bigger things, right? Buying something, tearing it all down, rebuilding the whole thing brand new. There's multi-billion-dollar development companies in LA that would never even look at this.
Mm-hmm. It's too small, yeah.
But you guys having a tight ship, everybody on the boat has to row. You can't just be chilling. You guys fit in this little niche of little infill lots like this. My gosh, I love it.
the Goldilocks of development.
Yes.
That's good.
Get in your boat any day.
Yeah. IL, you did a great job laying out the details. You guys obviously know what investors are looking for because the way you flowed through this, you did such a great job of the presentation. You also have a track history of actual projects. Your estimates on your construction are not just, hey, we think it's going to be this. I like everything. I'm sitting here going, I got to text somebody at Directed IRA and go, how much money do I have in my retirement accounts?
I don't mean to be a dick, but I have a couple questions.
Be a dick.
All right. Okay. this is lawyer Matt, he's no fun, but okay. Can you go back to the slide? I want to talk about management fees and management costs. I'm just curious how that's built into the project and the costs. And this gets back to one of the things I talked about at the very beginning was when I'm investing, I want to be making money with you and not you making money from me. And usually when I see management costs and management fees, sometimes I get a little gun shy because I'm like, is that to you guys? And which is okay. But I want to know, and you're transparent in dropping it in there, but I want to know, is that checks to you guys?
The simple answer is yes. The management fee, the 272,000, those are management fees to the management partners. That's a 2% acquisition fee, 6% development fee, and a 2% dispo fee or lease-up fee when we sell the property. Mainly because
so sorry, you had a
2%
asset under management fee and acquisition fee.
Acquisition 2%.
Acquisition 2%.
Development 6%.
Development 6%.
Stabilized disposition, like selling the asset, 2%.
2%.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is.
Would stabilized disposition be a refinance?
It could be. It could be a refinance based on a loan amount, or it could be based on the sale price.
Okay. If it's a refinance, does that cash the investor out?
If there is leftover, the first payout would be the first note holder.
Yeah.
Would be our construction loan. And if there's any equity left, it will be distributed proportionally based on how much you put in.
So just because you came in cash investors.
Yeah. So just
not to you guys though.
It wouldn't be like first in, first out.
Yeah.
But let's say hypothetically there was like 100,000 left, then every investor would get prorated based on the equity they own. So it's fair. If there was equity left on the refinance.
Okay, so you're in this cash partner structure, like in an LLC. This is not a fund. No. It's like a one deal. You have a small group of people. You guys have management, day-to-day authority, but there's some voting rights in there, a little bit in protections. Okay, so let's say it's a refi, and you say everybody's getting paid out based on the percentage of ownership. That's the cash investors, or is that you guys too?
Cash investors first, we're always last.
Okay, so this is one thing like in the cash partnerships that sometimes people gloss over is when we're doing distributions, and let's just keep it simple. I'm cash investor putting in 50 cash partner, let's say I'm putting 50%, so I'm putting my cash in to get 50% ownership, and you're 50%. We're like, all right, well, my 500,000 is still in the project and we're going to start distributing cash. Well, there's 10,000 to go. Do you get 5,000? I get 5,000, or I get the first 10,000 until all my cash is paid back, and then we start splitting.
So in the event, we don't have a waterfall split or anything like that. It's straight down the middle, 50-50. So if there was distribution of $10,000, we would split that 50-50. In the event we did refi, and let's say the investors were made whole, then we would change the distribution to 70-30 while the investors retain the 50-50 equity. Because at that point, your liability went down because we made you whole.
Is that how it's built in the agreement, like an operating agreement?
In our operating agreement, that's all laid out. Yes.
Okay. And there's different ways to do it. Some like even just a basic fund will do it that way. That it's like, well, it's 80-20 on the cash flow. When the asset sells, the cash gets paid back first, and then we split the proceeds after that. Like you get your money back. And then we're splitting profits off of disposition. Mm-hmm. And so
this is a little bit more of an easier structure because I'm also a fund manager in 3 506Bs. And yes, we do have waterfall methods, 8% pref, et cetera, but there's only going to be 4 to 5 investors at the most. And speaking to our SEC attorneys, if they own 10% equity, then they're a member. So we do kind of tattle on that gray area of, SEC rules. So if this was a bigger raise, like a couple million, 2, 3, 4 million, for sure we would go to the whole fund model. Yeah. But the cost of doing business for a PPM is like, 14, 15,000.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it on this deal. I was just trying to get at it's time to distribute cash. When are we splitting that versus when is the cash investor getting the original cash paid back?
Yeah. So in the refi, if there was any proceeds left, then that equity would be distributed to the investors, step one.
And that like reduces my capital account.
Correct.
Basically, because I had 500 and now you sent me 100K, I'm down to 400.
Correct. And then if any leftover cash flow distribution will be split 50-50 because we're still managing the asset on a day-to-day basis, making sure everything's going good, doing our
So you guys have the optionality as managers to decide when we're distributing this out, how much is reducing your capital account back down versus how much is a split.
Yes and no, because of the fact that it's an LLC agreement, there are voting rights. You as a member, you have voting rights as well. There are some voting rights because it's an LLC. We do have a little bit of superseding control in terms of the management, but hypothetically, like this wouldn't happen. But if we were to be negligent, you, the investor, could vote me out and take over the whole asset.
Yeah.
So it's set up that way from our attorney. So people,
which is smart. That's good legal advice. You have good legal advice there.
No, that's not legal. That's not legal advice. I'm just telling you.
Well, I said you received good legal advice.
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah.
Just want to be clear. Putting me on the spot.
I'll throw some holy water on it or something for you.
I'm gonna start meditating here. But just going back to the management fees, because like people are like, well, that's a lot of money that's going to go in your pocket. But really, that's operational costs,
First and foremost, that Matt is not criticizing that at all.
I just wanted to know what it is.
He wants to know what it is. And secondly, I love when people charge these fees because I want to know you're incentivized heavily. I want to make sure you're making money so we go do a bunch of projects together.
I'll just add to that. I've been in some situations where my partners didn't perform because they had to go chase after a paycheck. I had this situation. So now we have these overheads. So we're working towards something. That doesn't get released right away. That's a quarterly thing based on milestones too. There's checks and balances. So it motivates us as human to get money, right? And it helps us pay overhead, OpEx, employees, et cetera, softwares and stuff.
Yeah. And it's in the financial, it's in your pro forma.
Absolutely.
You've accounted for it so I can know you're getting paid that and then I'm still getting this great return.
That's correct.
Okay.
What happens if you blow up your contingencies?
We have in the hard cost of $1.05 million and the soft cost of 200,000, we have about like 10% contingency. But just to go back, these are like definitive numbers from my past projects that I have. So they're all historical numbers. We already have hard bids already completed, or hard bids now that are in construction phase. So if I were to use that contingencies, if it was to go over, I think that would be internal discussions with the general partners, because the last thing I want to do is do a capital call and ruin my reputation with my investors.
But the answer is it would be a capital call.
Technically, it would.
Okay.
Technically, it would.
No problem. People just need to know that, and that's fine. That's fine. I've been capital called before, and I get it. So,
but in that scenario,
something in the horizon is that you're going to have a lot of demand in that LA area for supplies and materials.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I'll drive your lumber from Arizona. I'll just drive it over.
All right, we got that.
We'll take care.
We got that figured out. Okay, see, it's up to. See, look at that. Let's go.
I think unfortunately, it's something that is in the horizon.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. We're in a very great spot for this project now because we've already submitted plans to the city. We already got a review and corrections. So we're like going to get RTI in the next March.
Yeah.
And we're already getting multiple bids for foundation, structure, and lumber. And I'm going to go back and lock those in. So they're locked in on those numbers. So really good point.
The other thing about the construction costs on the fire stuff, guys, no offense to people in California, but California sucks, okay? And they don't allow for permits quickly. And so what's going to happen is there's a lot of people dealing with the Palisades fire that are not going to be able to build for 2, 3, maybe even upwards of 5 years, a home that gets burned today. So I feel bad for them, but nobody's getting a permit in the next 12 to 24 months. Impossible. Impossible for them to even get one in 24 months, probably. And when that happens, look at the hurricanes that happened in Houston. What was funny is Houston's price per square foot actually went down when they had the hurricane and all the floods. Why? Because my price per square foot went up in Arizona. Why? Because our contractors left Arizona to go to Houston because there's more stable work. So it's the same thing this last summer. My Arizona contractors, they can't find as much work. They go to where the work is. They're not charging more money. They're just going to where there's more stable work. So in the Palisades situation in 2 years when permits start getting deployed. One, it's not like the whole neighborhood of the Pacific Palisades are getting permits at the same time. There will be an influx of workers that come from other states to come and chase down work. It'll happen. It happens in every situation. So will the prices go up? Yeah, but your contractors that are building this type of home are not going to be hired for the Pacific Palisades homes. It's a different builder, right? They're building apartment style units versus the Pacific Palisades are like $3 to $5 million single family homes that are customized with marble and all sorts of. It's a completely different builder quality. It's not even the same person.
Yeah.
One thing we make the mistake of a lot of times, if you're not in the construction world, the same person that built Matt's house did not build my house. You have a different builder in Paradise Valley, right? He would never come over to Mesa. They just wouldn't. And they get known. They get known in that area, and everybody knows that contractor, and they hire them over and over and over. Your contractor who you have a relationship with cannot be overstated how important that is. Right? You have a relationship with like Chava, my contractor here. I don't even tell him to bid the project. I go, my budget's 60 grand. Can you do it for 60 grand? Yeah, I can do it for 60 grand. Great. And he does it for 60 grand. Is that something everybody can do? No. Somebody with credibility and a track history can do that. So it's good that you're locking these things in, but people that are looking at deals like this, their prices of construction won't go up for 24 months. They just won't.
Can I talk to one other concern? Okay. All right. I love that you guys, you have skin in the game. Do you guys have cash in there? I know your butt's on the line for that loan, but do you have cash in?
I think as of now,
it's okay.
Top of my head, we have maybe like 20,000.
Okay, cool.
At the moment.
All right. So if I'm just lawyer Matt here for a second, I'm like, okay, where are the incentives here? And so, because when I'm the incentives, then I'm trying to protect that from the legal standpoint. If I'm drafting this operating agreement and trying to think of the incentives. The twisted way for you guys could be, all right, let's run this project. We're going to get our management fees, get our management costs. Are you guys connected to the GC? Is it your GC license or is it, okay, and let's run up the cost as much as we can. And so we can sell this up to the loan amount because we don't want our butts on the line with the bank. But these cash investors, there could be possibly a very skinny profit left for the investors.
I haven't even thought about that, but I'll answer that question.
Yeah,
well,
and that could be unintentional too.
Sure.
That could just be the deal goes that way for whatever reason or problem or difficulty or issue that arises that was unforeseen. And so I'm down here with a projected return that just turned into, and I thought, these guys, I thought they had skin in the game. Well, not on my cash, they didn't.
I could, speaking on behalf, we're looking for the long game. If I was to do that and the margins are thin, like, oh, hey, it was, this happened. I don't think you're going to want to invest with me again in the future, right? Over time. Maybe I might get away with it once or twice hypothetically, but that's not a long-term game. And I'm not in the business here to plant seeds just to keep planting seeds. I want them to grow into trees.
You have a 6% management fee of the construction of the deal. Is that above and beyond what the GC charges?
What's on our pro forma. So I can't go and just charge more management fees just because the budget went up.
Okay, so as the contractors are getting paid and their draws coming from the loan or wherever the draws are coming from on the contractor, are you showing disclosure of here's the receipt, here's the thing, here's the paperwork, we're not upcharging these types of things?
Everything's open because you're on the LLC. I have to disclose, right? If anybody requests for that. We also have a monthly update call with our partners going over what we did and what's the next steps. Every quarter, we go over the budget line by line. So here's the actual, here's the current. So we have a spreadsheet that does all that. Really cool.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's very transparent. If there was any bad news, we're going to deal with it, right? Bad news up front is always good news because we could have options and mitigate.
But can you protect me then in the agreement, let's say, or an investor? I know you've already got some money raised on this, but to say, hey, if we can't operate this to where we're thinking, you'll at least get this return.
Yeah, I think what we're showing here is what we're very confident that we'll deliver at the end of the project. Where did it go? Yeah, this is what we're projecting that the project will return. This is like the middle threshold, I think, with the budget that you're referring to. We want to perform so well that we're considering to be the GC to use our trusted subs. And that's more of a management question down the road. When we get to that point, the RTIs are ready. Okay, do we want to self-perform, save that money for the whole project that wins for everyone?
Yeah.
Or do we, or that are one GC freed up right now? So perfect, let's get them going. So I can't give you a straight answer right now, but we do have plan A and plan B. Right now, IO and I are leveling out bids for foundation and framing as just a plan B, just in case. So we already got like multiple bids on that right now. And if needed, then I will pull the permit under my license.
This might be the first LA thing I invest in. My
It's an
gosh.
option. And then I like to have options because things always happen. So options are very important.
Do you have other projects coming down the pipe after this one?
For like to partner? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Ayo, you want to answer that one?
Yeah,
Since I've been talking.
Yeah, we're looking at actually a value add play in Brentwood. And we're pivoting so that more of our portfolio reflects the affordable housing option for folks, housing recipients and voucher recipients, really kind of tailoring to VAs, senior folks, youth transitioning out of foster, and single parents. So we've got we're building relationships with those operators now. We have a deal in, and we just submitted on that we've already got funded for. So that's just one of many. We're also working with the mayor's office on housing to provide kind of more modular housing at scale. We're partnering with several owners with that those are going to get into more 30-unit developments.
All right, cool. Love that. Put your contact information up there. We might have a couple more things to Eric, switch it over to them so people can pull them up and invest. Thank you, Eric. Man, you've gotten good at that deck today. Have you figured out the picture-in-picture thing, like the little hacks?
I've done that.
Somebody needs to teach me that, bro. All right. Okay. Any questions, any comments from the audience? We haven't really opened that up much today. Well, you're always welcome to grab the microphone. This is great. You guys did a great job. And I just want to say, Andy, what a great feeling it is to have a partner like you, that if I run in a bullshit situation, like fires and lack of flights, I can't get out of town. Oh man, heaven forbid my wife have a baby. It's nice to be able to rely on somebody that can show up in person. And Io, great job on the presentation. Awesome stuff.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you
So
a lot.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I just want to just kind of close out one thing that thank you for providing the flexibility given the situation of everything that's going on. We're calling Io's baby the dragon girl because we think the fires had something to do with it, right? But we'll only know in the future. But again, just thanks for the space, guys. And I just want to say, like, me alone could only go so far, so much, right? I, as a developer, I'm limited, right? IO as a builder, et cetera. Pace, you as a community leader, Matt as a CPA attorney, we're limited. And for me to learn what you're going to do, it'd probably take me 5 to 10 years of brain damage. And I don't know if I want to do that right now, right? I think it's really important to know who to work with, subject experts. And what I'm hoping that we can kind of do together collectively is like fix the housing issue, which is like stagnant permits and slow building costs and all this red tape. So I just want to thank you guys for this space, and I hope we can do something great in this community.
Really cool, man. Yeah. Really, really good job, guys. Thank you so much.
Boom. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Io.
Thank you.
Thank you.